All right. Let's see. Well, this says I'm live. There it is. Sorry for being a little bit late, guys. I was having some technical difficulties. But with that, welcome to yet another Run Wild with Us. Ask us whatever the frig you want. I'm Lisa Kastner. I am the founder and executive editor of Running Wild and RIZE publications. And I am here with you on Thursdays between 5 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. and 6 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern time and 9 p.m. Eastern time. And typically I'm here with some of my fellow editors. Oh, here comes one of our amazing folks now.
Hello.
Hey, Peter, how you doing?
Glad it's Thursday. How are you?
I am right there with you, man. I'm right there with you.
Yep.
I started waking up thinking it was Friday on Tuesday, so that sort of tells you.
I hear you. Yeah.
I'm still adjusting to your short hair. Like my brain just keeps kind of going, no.
I like it. It's not my eyes anymore, not my mouth. So I like it.
No, I absolutely like it. It's just like I can't. I don't know. In my head, the real Pete has at least shoulder length hair. So it's my issue. It's my issue, not yours. So how's it going, young man?
It's going well. It's going well. Staying busy. Staying too busy actually. But yeah, I wish I had something to report. I really do. But it's kind of like just been same old here, which is kind of a good thing because worst thing could be happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I just realized I don't think my headset is working because I can hear you outside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I don't care. I had a couple of interesting questions that have come up in the past, but they came up again. So I thought if no one else has anything they want to bring forward, we could talk about those. I also wanted to remind folks that I am going to be at the Diamond Valley Writers Guild, not this Sunday, or not this weekend, but next weekend. And I'm going to be talking about structure. Now, it's open to anybody. You don't have to be a member of the Diamond Valley Writers Guild. Just go ahead and Google them. They're good people. I believe it's going to be both broadcast and in person. So if you can't physically make it there, no big shakes, right? You just go online. Now, what's cool is I'm going to be talking about structure. Now, for a lot of people, it's kind of like, ugh, what the hell is that, right? Like, why do I give a fill in the expletive? Well, I'm actually going to be talking about some common structures like thriller, mystery, romance, but also memoir. So if you're currently having challenges in finishing a novel or finishing a short story or a novella, and you can't kind of figure your way out of the challenges you're experiencing, this is definitely going to be helpful. I'm also actually going to talk about some alternative ways that you can come up with a structure that isn't necessarily so common. Now, mind you, I only have an hour, so let's see how much of this fill in the expletive I'm actually going to knock out. But my understanding is that the majority of the Diamond Valley Writers Guild members are writing memoirs. So I'm probably going to start with that. And then I'll see how many folks are writing like a horror or a mystery or a romance. And then I'll focus on that kind of structure. But I think, I think a lot of times people are having problems with like finishing a book and they can't figure out why. And if they just had a roadmap for, for the form of the actual book, then they'd have an easier time. So
yeah, exactly. I agree.
And this, by the way, it's applicable to literary too. It doesn't matter the type of genre that you are writing in. Any genre can use the techniques that I'm going to be providing around structure. It's just easier to start the conversation with kind commonly known structures than starting it, willy-nilly. Although if I have time, I will go down the willy-nilly path. So
Fun. Exciting.
cool. Yeah. And then also a reminder, again, this is just because a few people reached out to me, that we have the Cure anthology. So if you read Cure and you really enjoyed that world, we actually are having a short story anthology where you can write a story based on the characters and like the rules of that world. So a few people are really excited about it. I'm really thrilled actually to read your short stories. I think it's a lot of fun. But it's due, I believe, July 30th. So it gives you plenty of time to knock out that short story. I'm trying to think. And we're also going to have a really big announcement, or a couple of them, with Drexel University in October. So you're going to look out for that as well. And I know we're working on a whole bunch of other things, including we just launched a 20 questions. So I'm basically sitting down with authors and editors from our publications and asking them, it's actually more than 20 questions, but who cares? So if there's someone that you would love to kind of peek into their brain a little bit, then just ping me, let me know who, and I will be more than happy to interview them. And with that, hey Ben, how you doing, young man?
Good. Hello, everyone.
Hey Ben.
I'm having internet trouble, so if you lose me, I'm gone.
You can always come back. You're good at that. Yes. I'm like, what? No, I don't like that. I'm like, what style is best? I think that's cool. Okay. Anyway, anything exciting going on in your life other than internet sucks?
Just editing. I'm halfway through Family Pack. I'm ready to send it to the author.
Oh, cool.
and
that's what we're calling it now. Okay.
That name stuck. I don't know.
I like it.
The Family Pack, because I'm getting a lot of family vibes and family history, so it just made sense.
I like it. I'd say let's go with it. That's actually a really good one. It's a lot better than what I came up with. Very cool.
I'll also start looking at short stories here pretty shortly for the anthology number 8. So there's still time to get those in, get them posted and submittable. And because my cutoff will probably be June 1st. June 1st, I'll have to wait till number 9.
Yep. All right. So everyone pay attention to that. If you want us to publish a short story of yours and you want it in, what would that be? That's not 2024. It's 2025, right? Or is it?
Yeah, I think we're pushed off to like May of each year now.
Yeah. Then if you want it in the volume 8, then you've got to submit it now. So that Ben can actually have a chance to look at it. Now, my lazy tush, I'm not going to be looking at novellas for either Rise or Running Wild. I'm going to say until maybe November or December, because we finished up 2024. And that would give us plenty of time to get novellas in for 2025 anthologies. So, and
finished up number 8, right?
Yeah, I just finished 8. 8 and 2, I think, technically speaking. Yeah, I just finished 8 and 2. And then crud. Oh, we're also really actively working on getting on the audiobooks for our stories that are being published this year. So when we announce that a book's been published or is about to be published, also look for the audiobook version. It'll be available on, I think on Amazon. Hold on, let me double check. They will be available on, it would have been nice if I knew this off the top of my head. It's like, sorry. We have it exclusive with Amazon affiliated audiobook companies. And I'm just looking up what they all are. Sorry about that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll tell you when we actually publish them. So that'll be really cool because they'll be available. You can get them then ebook, paperback, or audiobook. So that's a big win. Caroline, Margaret, and Rod all say hey back. Awesome to see everyone as always. Caroline says, love the hair, Peter. I totally agree. I was just saying that I'm still getting used to it. That's all. Not intended in a bad way, in any way, shape, or form. So, I think that's the big stuff. I'm like looking at my notes. Oh, okay. So yeah, so this one topic came up a couple times this week, and so I'm gonna ask Ben and Peter to give their 10 cents regarding this first. So I was asked, considering that in today's market, a lot of authors either are self-publishing or they're going with smaller publishers or whatever. What is the purpose of an agent anymore?
I would think the purpose of agent is well, like you were saying or alluding to, is getting to the bigger houses, getting in the door with the bigger publishers. But I mean, today's day and age, like you were saying, I mean, the smaller presses and even self-publishing is becoming a more lucrative market. I mean, it's all about what you can put into your story, into your marketing. For your book or for your memoir or whatever. So agents are still necessary, but they're not vital anymore. I don't think. There's ways around it.
Yeah, good points. How about you, Ben? What do you think?
I totally agree with Peter. That was my initial thought. I think they do a lot of legwork for the author that the author may have expertise in, maybe not, and probably not. Mm-hmm. And they may have the ear of bigger houses, like Peter said. But the indie awards and the self-publishing awards, they are ways to get your books noticed. Even Kirkus Review, that's the way, the approach. There's other ways, other avenues to get the work into the hands of readers, and doesn't have to go through the big publishing house to do it. And so I think the agent is there if you can find one who isn't fully just swamped and will take your work. That's great. You may have a good relationship, but so many times they're looking for certain things that they know they can sell, and so they're not as open to a broader range as an indie publisher or a self-publishing. They're open, and it comes down to do you trust your work? Do you think your work will do well out there? Is that what you want for it? And so the confidence in the work goes a long way. As your own agent, confidence is your own agent.
No, yeah, I agreed on all points. My response was, it goes back to, what do you want, right? Well, like, what are your goals? And really understanding that, to both Ben and Peter's point, agents are not there because agents are not like the magical group that identifies brilliant work. That's not why agents exist. Agents exist because they've built fabulous relationships, fingers crossed, with larger houses, and potentially with um, companies that offer translation services, so you can market your books overseas. A really good agent actually also has relationships in with production companies for TV and film and video. They have great relationships with audiobook companies, so that they make sure that your story is available across multiple forums. That's what a really great agent does, right? That said, to both Ben and Peter's point, they're not here looking for stories. They're not looking for great stories. They're looking for stories they know that they can sell. Because when they are meeting with these houses, and they're meeting with the translators, and they're meeting with audio companies and so on, they're asking these guys, so what are you looking for? And so in reality, what they're doing is trying to fulfill that request, right? And the reason that I bring this up is because I have seen far too many really, really good writers, if not brilliant, whose works are skipped. Sorry, I have when you have one of those low grade headaches and you have a problem like articulating well. So anyway, so if your book gets passed, it has nothing to do with the quality of your writing, right? And it goes back to what I think both Ben and Peter said. It's trusting your work. It's finding great readers. And the reason I actually do say readers is that a lot of times, if you are only sharing your work with other aspiring writers, they're giving feedback based on what it is that they themselves are learning as well. So that does not necessarily mean that your story sucks. It doesn't mean you don't know how to articulate yourself, unlike myself right now. But it does it. So there's always value in going out and finding readers who who just love to read. They don't, and even if when they give you feedback, they can't necessarily tell you exactly what's missing or what's wrong. They can pinpoint the weaker portions of the story, and that can help you in strengthening it. Or maybe they'll come back and say, oh my God, this was fantastic. I never want to see another thing, right? Or when are you writing the next thing? Hurry, do it now. So whenever you are in search of an agent, just remember the agent's purpose, and make sure that you are submitting your stories to an agent who actually represents the kind of work that you write, because that's the other big thing, right? And they're going to turn it down. I know I'm not to make this simplistic, but the reality is if that agent doesn't actually represent stories like those that you write, then they're going to turn it down. So Margaret says that may explain the lack of diversity in what gets published. Agreed. It absolutely does. And to compound it, most large houses, some are adjusting their acquisition models, but most large houses, they're going to base their acquisitions on what sold well in the last 2 years. And that's why they actually ask you, so can you provide comps of books that within the last 2 years, so that they can get a sense of what the potential sales might be for your story. And And that's also why I'm also a huge advocate of, you know, if you know that you're not writing something that's considered among the standard, then submit to small and mid-sized houses. I mean, still do your homework, right? Still figure out if they publish stuff similar to what it is that you personally write, but don't limit yourself to only houses that only accept stories that come through an agent. And just real quick, as a tag onto that, also know that an agent isn't going to be this like magical means for you to suddenly have your story available everywhere, right? Just because you get an agent doesn't mean that now it's going to get picked up by Penguin. What that means is that agent is going to then shop your story to the different contacts they have at the various houses. And I mean, again, all houses, right? Audio, if they're really good, you know, audio, translation, you know, so forth and so on. And they're going to see if there's any interest in it. But that doesn't mean that your homework's done. It doesn't mean that you're done doing your own pitching. It means that you're going to be doing it alongside, and that, you know, when you're going to still shop your story, you're still going to, you know, send it out to, when you're going to conferences, you're still going to meet with, if you're smart. I mean, if you don't have to do this, right? But if you're smart, all the authors I know who are really successful and have sold a lot of stories, this is what they do. They still shop their stories out whenever they go to a conference or a workshop or, you know, a meeting, or, you know, hell, they go to the coffee shop, right? Or if they even have an idea and they just want to pass it by a friend of theirs who happens to be at a house, right? They're still going to do it. It's just that then they'll turn around and engage their agent to finalize the deal. So, you know, it's really, it's like a gate. The agent's more of like a gatekeeper to help you accomplish your goals. So, I hope that made sense. Margaret says, thank you, Running Wild RIZE, for providing a seat at the table for marginalized writers like myself. I just think we got to focus on story, right? There are too many great stories. There are too many groundbreakers out there that were ignored for years and years and years. And, you know, it has nothing to do with the author, or at least I hope not. And it really doesn't have anything to do with the story. It has to do with a broken acquisition system. So, so yeah, that was everything I had. I don't know, Ben. I don't know, Peter. Do you guys want to come up with some, you know, wacky shit?
Well, that's Ben's department. So what do you say, Ben?
There you go.
I was thinking about one of our authors, and I had a discussion. And he had tried to get an agent for his novel that we picked up, and it's a gritty war novel, and so you've got to know where the agent fits, because he was very frustrated at one point with the agent who was more interested in taking his cat for a walk to the opera, and it just wasn't going to fit. The relationship was not going to work, and he found that out. And you know, it's it's a group of writers talking to each other. You've got to leverage and learn from other writers' experiences and say, yeah, you really need the relationship not only with the publisher but with the agent who gets you the publisher. And because if they don't know you and don't know your work and don't support you or like your work, they're just doing it as a process to make money for themselves. And that's going to hurt the author in the long run, and the work ultimately.
Yeah, I agree. The relationship with your agent or with your editor is key to the success of your book, success of your career, because you want to work with somebody that understands you, that you can work with, and you know you're both fighting for the same thing, working towards the same goal.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, guys, I know I say this all the time, but do your homework, right? Look at some of your favorite authors. Pay attention to, are they shifting houses a lot? Are they shifting editors a lot? I'm going to make you bet the answer is no. Because typically what happens is once an author gets with a house where they find an editor that they really enjoy working with, and vice versa, they don't go anywhere, right? They continuously submit their new ideas to those editors. It doesn't mean that they don't build relationships with other houses. It just means that it's like, hey, this was hard to find, this was hard to get to. I'm not gonna F this up, right? Like, I want to make sure that this, remains a healthy relationship. That said, if the guy's a jerk or the girl's a jerk, then of course, move on, find better opportunities. So, Rod says, building my platform is working, but very time consuming. Past week, 53 hours on the platform, 21 hours office and books, and only 11 hours writing, revising, and editing. Yeah, that's normal. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's kind of like anything. There's a ramp up period where you're spending a lot of time focused on, building those relationships and getting the word out and getting people to know who you are. And then there comes a point when it's a combination of things. One, you already have a backlog of stuff that you can use, right? And two, people know who you are and they start seeking you out. So Rod asks, how do you guys balance time? All right. What do you, since Ben's already giggling, I figure I'll start with Ben.
You've got to expand the clock. You can't think of it as a 24-hour day. You got to think of it as a 48-hour 2 days, and then fit it in. And sometimes you just got to look at it and say, that's not happening today, and be okay with that. If there's editing to be done, but it's not going to get done today, you've got to say, it'll feel better and do better tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. There's always that second 24 hours coming. And don't eat or sleep or any of those other things.
I don't know. What do you think, Peter?
I think you're getting out of it what you put into it. As much time as you can dedicate towards it, building of the platform, the writing of the work, the editing. I mean, if you put in 10 hours a week, you're going to get 10 hours worth of results. If you put in more, you get more you get more experience, you get more education, you get more skills, you gain craft. So, I mean, I'm being kind of succinct here, but you get out of it what you put into it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, so Rod, I'll be honest, I have the exact same challenge. I have, I mean, just looking at my inbox, there are so many things that I have to decide that it's okay to just put off because I don't have time. So what I do is every week I sit down and I figure out, what do I want to focus on, right? And then I make priority those things that will get me towards those goals. And if when I make that list of priorities, I realize there's no way I can get this done, then I prioritize the prioritized list, right? Like, okay, I guess like a good example would be, I need to revise our business plan and get it out to, we've had a bunch of venture capitalists reach out to us about possibly either investing in us or helping us find additional funding so we can expand. So I need to do the business plan, reach out to those VCs, do the presentations for it. I have another novel that I need to finish revising. I've had a couple of authors. I've had a couple of offers for me to write some short stories. Oh, that was another one. that I forgot to mention. I have a book that so I wrote a micro story in this book, Healing Visions. I'm like, how do I get it so that my thing doesn't screw up? Yeah, here we go. Healing Visions. And it actually got a starred Kirkus review. So check it out. It's a combination of micro stories that are written based on photographs, and it's actually for a nonprofit. So all the funds go to a charity, which is fabulous. So check it out. Starred Kirkus review. Really, really great hardback collection. So anyway, so I've got a couple of offers to write short stories. I have to finish my taxes. Gosh. Oh, and I have a couple of workshops that I'm going to be teaching in the coming couple of months, right? So if you think about that, each one of those easily is a full day's worth of work, if not multiple days worth of work. So typically, again, I just sit down and I prioritize in terms of what's really important to me. Is there like a deadline that I have to meet? Actually, those for me are the two big things, right? How important is it? Does this help me reach certain objectives that I've set for myself and the press, and so on? And is there some type of deadline that I absolutely have to hit? And then based on that, I decide on what my focus will be. And then actually a third thing is, am I the one who has to do it? Right? Because a lot of times I think we all have a tendency that we think, you know what, it would be so much easier if I'm the one that just knocks this out. And the reality is it's something that, someone else could do just as easily. And sure, maybe you have to train them up or, teach them or whatever, but that's great. No problem. Right. So it's just really kind of taking those things into consideration. And then there are times when I decide, like, I'll be honest, we went on a killer cruise for the Running Wild team in late January. And I have been like borderline burnout with all the stuff I've got going on for, I want to say, the last couple of weeks. And I am seriously considering going on another weekend cruise to force me to get offline and just really take some time out. So, a lot of it is just, you've got to decide on what's important to you. So I don't know. Ben, Peter, does that sound right-ish? I don't know.
Sound excuse me. It sounds sane to be honest. You can't carry everything out at the same time. You got to pick what's important. Choose the highest priority.
And the important stuff will always get done sooner. And there's nothing wrong with knowing your own capacity and capabilities. And even you may set 10 hours for yourself one day or 1 week or a month, but you still have to self-monitor and know that 10 hour, I did 10 hours, but it's not the work I wanted to do. And don't let that disappoint you. Celebrate that you hit your goal of 10 hours that period. And then if the next 10 hours means going back and polishing that's okay. That's just the process.
Yeah, 100%. And like, if I know I've got a novel that I need to write, I intentionally sit down with the calendar and I say, okay, I'm going to spend from this time to this time working on research and structure, right? And I create that outline and basic research. And then I'm going to spend from this time to this time fleshing it out and making sure it actually makes sense. And then, I know how many hours I can knock out in a day on writing. And based on that, I'll tell myself, okay, like I honestly, I can usually write around 2,000 to 2,500 words in a day. If I do it over a weekend, I can usually knock out somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 words. 8,000 is kind of pushing it. I get kind of tired, like your brain can only be creative for so long, or at least mine. And then I need to go get a martini. But yeah, so knowing what your limits are and knowing what you can accomplish and being realistic with yourself, do that, knock that out, and then that'll enable you to be successful as you drive things forward. So Margaret says, I had 2 agents who told me publishers told her my YA exceed their quotas of people of color. Oh my God. That's awful. Holy shit. I didn't even know there was such a thing. That okay. Well, they're wrong as far as I'm concerned. That's just asinine. Holy shit. Anyway. Rod says, I'm a slacker compared to Ben. I wake up at 8 a.m. Yeah, dude, waking up at 2:30 in the morning is like, poof.
That's half your day's gone.
I get up at 4:15 and that's hard. I can't even
half your day's gone.
Half my day. I obviously. I don't know how the hell you do it though, man. Seriously. That's
I'm usually writing until 11:30, 12:30 at night. So 4 o'clock is a non-starter for me. Was not going to happen.
See, I can't write for that long. Like I'm usually up. The latest I'd say is like 11 p.m. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
I sleep at 9 hours of peacefulness, the quiet. It's just me, my imagination, computer. Yeah. I
was going to say whatever works for you, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. My brain starts turning off.
2,000, 2,500 words a day is fantastic. My best was I used to write 1,000 words a day.
Wow.
And then I trained and studied and learned, and my word count went down because I'm overthinking everything that I'm writing now. So I'm slowly getting back to the whole plug away at it, type it, write it, revise it later because the first draft is always going to suck. Second draft's going to be a little bit better. So just go with that theory, and that's been working so far. So I'm happy with my progress lately.
Now I classically I'll do a first draft where I do revise during it, but to me it's not the final because I need to get the whole thing done, and then I allow my subconscious to go, you missed this and then I'll go back and revise based on what I realize I've missed. So and then I send it to my editor who's like, this sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
That's just how he is, isn't it?
Totally is, man. At least he's a
that editor. Okay.
Oh, him. That other guy.
Yeah.
Rod says,
I wrote 3,000 words on a work in progress, but that was 6 months ago. So the average now is like a half a word a day.
Dude, at least you wrote the last time. I don't even remember the last time I actually was writing. I've just been so focused on getting the editing done and all this other stuff. But yeah. Oh, well. Rod says, prioritize the priority list. Good advice. Thank you, Lisa. I am too old for these 90-hour weeks. Oh, well, dude, because they're not going to stop. This is what you said you wanted to do.
It doesn't matter what you do with them. It's still the same number of hours in a week.
Yeah. Back to the wacko YA agent who said they met their quotas or exceeded their quotas. Margaret says, needless to say, I withdrew my MS. As you should, because I think you should advertise who those agents and those publishing houses are, because people should know they don't want to back them. But that's me. Caroline says, dreaming it works also. I go to bed and tell myself, figure this out and set the scene up. That's good advice. That works. Does anyone else go to this? Oh, yeah, I do actually. And sometimes my subconscious just decides to figure it out on its own. I don't tell it. It's just like, ta-da, this is why you're an F up. So Rod Gilly says, The Man with a Red Pen, a horror by Rod Gilly. Can you guess who that story will be based on?
There he is.
I went the wrong way.
I just love the serious look on your face. That was awesome. I'm like, it wasn't me because I didn't
Hard.
the horror. Rod, you got to make it like a massive, some kind of major thing so that, you know, anyone who reads it will know it's Ben. You got to quote him.
Yeah. Stop eating.
Wow, we're almost at quarter of the hour. That's insane. That's awesome. So if you are just now picking us up, this is a Run Wild with Us, Ask Us Anything. I'm Lisa Kastner. I'm the founder and executive editor of Running Wild and RIZE. And I am here with Ben and Peter, who are two of our amazing acquisition and editors. And we are here with you on Thursdays between 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific time, 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern time. And we answer whatever questions you might have. It could be about writing. It could be about publishing, editing, the writing world. It could be, again, whatever you want. It could be about why did Peter cut his hair short? I don't know. I don't care. Just come up with a question and we'll do our best to answer it. So Rod says, I can't believe that race crap still exists in 2023. We should certainly make public who said that quota thing. I agree. That's all I got. Oh,
It's basically quantity over quality. There's no consideration for the story itself. It's numbers.
Yep. Sadly, for some, it is all numbers. Also, if you're watching this and it's the recording, don't forget, always feel free to go ahead and pop your question into the comments section. We always check throughout the week for any new questions that come up, and we are more than happy to cover them in the subsequent session. So Caroline says, what does the week look like for each of you? I don't know, Peter, what's your upcoming week look like?
Sadly, I wish it were more exciting. I want to finish the book that I'm editing and want to knock out about 4 chapters of the novel that I'm working on to get those revised, get those polished, and then probably just finish up house project. My in-laws are coming at the end of next week, so I got to make sure that any projects or chores that need to be done get done before they get here. So that's being a good son-in-law, I guess. So I got a couple of big projects to take care of.
That works.
I installed a ice machine into my fridge last week. It cut the heck out of my hands. So I'm glad that's over.
That sucks.
Yeah.
How about you, Ben? What are you up to? It works.
It's more the same. It's getting sunny and warm now, so I'll have to print stuff out and go outside and read it. But I'm going to turn Family Pack over to the author, and then start getting deeper into Terror at the Sound of a Whistle, and start selecting stories, and then I've got another one, Wretched. Wretched is waiting for me to get to it. I've talked to the author there.
Nice.
So it's stacked up. Let's prioritize the priority list. That's what I'm going to do this week.
There you go. Yeah, I just started editing another novel. So I need to work on that. I need to finish my taxes. I actually wasn't kidding when I said that. I'm volunteering at a homeless shelter this week. I do that. I try to do that kind of regularly. I'm meeting with some friends. It's our, what is it? LA restaurant week. So we're hitting up a couple of restaurants. Yeah. So that should be fun. I'm meeting with my mentees. I mentor actually 3 authors with the Horror Writers Association. So I'm meeting with each of them in the upcoming week. I'm going on a happy hour with a bunch of old friends from one of my previous employers. I'm doing some special projects with some people that I absolutely adore. So I'm going to be knocking out those special projects. So I think to Ben's point, it's definitely going to be a week of prioritization. And at some point, I'm probably going to pick up another novel to edit, just because we have a backlog of novels that we have to assign editors. So I'm just working on getting us up to date, if that makes sense. So, Margaret asks, how many manuscripts does each editor work on? Oh, that is really varied. I mean, we have some editors, because we actually have a pool of about, I want to say 15, 20 editors that we work with. And the way it works is either they reach out to us or I reach out to them and let them know that we have a book available for editing, and to see if they're interested in editing it. So, we have some editors like Ben and Peter who may take on anywhere from 3 to 6 books at a time. We have others who are like, I can only handle one at a time, right? Which is great though, because it means they're focused, they're really focused on it. Myself, Ben, and Peter, we tend to take on a couple at a time, but we'll let you know, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to get to this until for a couple of months, or whatever, but know that I'm going to be your editor. So it just depends. It depends on people's availability. And I oftentimes, what I do is when we first acquire a novel or any manuscript, I suggest that you go out and you look at our list of editors and see if there's somebody that you would be interested in working with. And so then when the time comes, I will pass your manuscript by that editor first, to see if they're interested or if they have the availability. And then otherwise, then I'll pass it on to others who either I think might be a good fit or whom I know are already available, if that makes sense. So, Rod says, Sarah Hailstone's Wretched is very charming. You will enjoy working with her. She was wonderful on my show. And she would be great for 20 questions. Cool. Thank you for the feedback. I may actually wait until we're closer to when we are going to publish Wretched, so that she gets some uplift off of it. But that's awesome to know. Thank you so much, Rod. Cool. And with that, we only have like 10 minutes left. I don't know if anyone has any other questions that they want to bring forward. We're thrilled to answer them. Or I don't know, Ben and Peter, if you've got any other topics that you may want to cover.
I'll go back and answer Caroline's question about, does anyone else do this? She was talking about the dreaming up of solutions. I'll catch myself sometimes dreaming a novel at night. And of course, then I never can remember. It makes so much sense when you're dreaming it, and then you lose it. But so usually the ideas that come from dreams, I don't keep a dream dream journal, but I can see there's value in it for writers. So it's listen to your unconscious. I think that's the point, because sometimes you're like, when you're not thinking of anything else, you'll think about what you need to think about. It works. Yeah. Let that sink in.
Yeah, definitely listen to your subconscious. I get ideas from the manuscript not frequently enough, but often enough that I'll take time, stop and write it down, or tap it in my phone as a text to myself so I can remember it later. Because I have an idea right before I fall asleep and it's gone the next morning. So I try to type those in, get those written down. And then I've got scraps of paper all over my studio here that's got character ideas, quote ideas, scene ideas, sayings, quotes, whatever. I just write stuff down just to have it so I can reference it when I need it. I don't know when I'm actually going to need it, but I've got it if I do.
Yeah. And another great idea generator, especially for poems and poetry. Listen to what people say and think about what you think they said, because sometimes what you mishear is a great catalyst for writing. And my mother used to listen to the radio all the time, and they were giving the weather, and one time they said it was going to be warm and muggy, and she heard, well, warm man's monkey. And the idea just came to me. You just got to listen to the things that are missaid, because there's some rich stuff there, and no need to correct it. Just go with it.
I listen to historic podcasts, and like ones about different like weird things that happen in history and stuff, to get ideas for future stories, because the crazy crap that people have done. Like they're like handing it to you, man. And actually, if a lot of the best known novels or stories in general were based on a real person or a real event, and it was just like seriously fictionalized. So have fun with it. Look up something that kind of piques your fancy. I actually get an email called Ancient Origins, where they kind of dive into the wackier things that have happened in obviously in more like ancient history. But what's cool is it can then, like I said, write down any kind of wild ideas that you get from after listening or watching those kinds of things, because you would be shocked at when you go back to it, how cool it actually turns out to be. So Rod says GP, I'm not going to say this right, Gadbois, wrote a whole series of books from a dream she had. That doesn't surprise me. He also says, I'll be live tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Eastern time on the Author's Porch on YouTube. You guys should come and say hello. Absolutely, guys. Go ahead. Go look up Rod and the Author's Porch. Just do a search, and you'll find a bevy of really cool interviews. They're usually run like 15, 20 minutes, something like that. So really, have a good time. Go check those out. And it's a wide variety of authors, so which makes it even more fun. So awesome. Cool. Well, we only have 5 minutes left. And just a reminder, we will be here next week on the 11th, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Usually it's me, Ben, and Peter. Every once in a while, we're joined as well with Cody, who's one of our other acquisition editors. And his accountability is for RIZE, and some of our other editors as well. And we just really have a blast just sitting here chatting and answering any kind of questions that you guys might have. So challenge us, come up with some wild ass stuff, and we will do our best to answer those wild ass things. So cool. I don't think I have anything interesting else going on.
Are you guys like Cormac McCarthy? Right,
Yeah.
like his work?
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading his The Passenger right now, and I'm having difficulty with it because I love his writing. I love his work. I think his imagination is astounding.
Mm-hmm.
But this book's a little bit different for me because it alternates between several different characters,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the characters is so completely outlandish. He even writes these sections in italics. Completely outlandish. He's terrorizing this poor young woman in her bedroom with a cast of characters that do funky stuff in the bedroom, like dance around, sing, and do stuff like that. I saw where Ben was thinking.
Good save. Good save.
Start dancing.
What are you talking about?
But the main story about the plane, finding a plane in the water, I think it's the Gulf of Mexico with 9 people aboard,
Mm-hmm.
just sitting at the bottom of the ocean there. That's the fascinating part, but I got to get to this other stuff. So my jury's still, I'm going to love it when it's done, but I just got to get there first because it's kind of a little slow slogging for it right now.
Got it. No, I haven't read that one. Have you been?
No.
Right here.
Margaret Buchanan says, all the pretty horses.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yep, definitely. Rod says, and each show tonight, thank you for letting me be a part of it. Had fun. Oh, good. Glad. I'm so happy you had a good time. Actually, I'm reading, I think it's The Spiders, a Rex. Let me see. This now I can't even spell. The Golden Spiders, a Rex Stout mystery, which is actually pretty cool. It's considered one of the classics in the mystery genre. So if you're a mystery fan, definitely go check it out. The interactions, the characters are really, really fun. And then I need to pick the book I'm gonna read after that. So I finished the Pallbearers Club by Paul Tremblay, and I really enjoyed it. And I won't ruin it for anyone, but early on you'll figure out what the story's about, but he keeps it in a way that you keep questioning yourself, like, is this really what's going on? And then by the end, he both confirms it and denies it. So I'll just leave it there, but I would definitely pick it up. Margaret says, I'm reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Oh, that's interesting. You'll have to let us know how you like that. Rod says, I'm reading We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. Oh, Caroline's reading She's Come Undone. Oh, I love She's Come Undone. So, I'm reading The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Got it. Cool. Yeah, guys. By the way, if you guys are reading anything that you're like, oh my God, this is fabulous, definitely bring it forward during these sessions and let us know. Because I'm all about promoting and uplifting great stories. And I'm a huge Wally Lamb fan. I actually got to meet him at my MFA, and he is a complete and utter sweetheart. So not just a great writer, but a really great man as well. But anyway, so with that, we are at the end or the top of the hour, both. I want to thank Ben and Peter again for being amazing. I want to thank you guys, Margaret, Caroline, Rod, and everybody who's watching or has watched. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, looking forward to having you join us in the future. And with that, have a great night.